What up, Corner Crew? Welcome back to another episode of the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast. I am your host, as always, Brad Baily. Want to give a shout out to y'all coming back, tuning in with us once again. You know how we do. But want to kick this one off right away. We got Seven the Panther from Pantha Politics Podcast coming out of Tacoma, Washington. Let's bring my man up, Seven the Panther. What up, bro?
Yo, what's good with it, man? How you living?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. You know, grinding, working, always working.
Oh, I'm
Always.
at work right now. You can see that.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm always working. But how are you doing? That's the key, because we about you today. So how you doing?
Man, I'm maintaining, man. Trying to hold it down. I'm trying to hold it down. Like I said, working like a slave to become a master. You feel me?
I feel you. I feel you. So for those that don't know who you are, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you're about.
That's kind of a loaded question, but I'm Seven the Panther. Obviously, I'm 1/8 of Takeover Music Collective. I'm 1/12 of Sound Chamber Productions. I represent both Tacoma, Washington, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as well as Raleigh, North Carolina, of course. Can't forget Strong Island, of course, home front. Um, so I'm from a little bit of everywhere, man. Like, what I'm saying, I move around a bit. Of course, as you said, I'm the host of Panther Politics Podcast, along with Eda Mad Assassin and Mojo Barnes, as well as Sidebars, which is our artist interview segment. We're about to start a new pod soon for
Oh,
sports. So yeah, man, do a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I rap a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's our podcast game, man. You got to keep building and creating new ones. You got to keep going. I noticed that. Like,
Absolutely.
why you got to build that. That's what we're doing. You know, we're doing the same thing. We're following that model of just branching out into other aspects of entertainment. You know what I mean? Because you got to touch all kinds of
Yes.
bases. But we keep a hip hop flavor to everything. So
Absolutely.
yeah, tie it all together. Tie it all together. So tell us about your journey through hip hop and your past and your influences.
Oh man, that's crazy. Okay, so I guess I started rapping when I was 11, but that wasn't like my jump off really. Like I was a DJ first when I first started. I wanted to be the DJ because we all know as much as people praise the rapper because they the one in front, the DJ really run the show. You know what I'm saying? And I
Mhm.
wanted to be the guy who didn't have to say nothing but could kind of control the situation. And then I was in this group and I was DJing for them, and we battled this other crew, and their DJ came out from behind the tables and kicked a little verse. So everybody was like, "Well, now you got to do it." So I wrote my little rap, and the next time we bumped heads with them, I kicked my little verse, and then everybody was like, "Yo, why you DJing for them and you rap better than both of them?" And I'm like, "Oh." So I got rid of the turntables, stopped collecting records, and got on my pen game. So that was, I mean, basically, I wrote my very first verse to Eric B's president. Basically, my pattern was the exact same as Rakim's. You know what I'm saying? I basically
Yeah.
but just making my own words up. So I mean, from there, fast forward to high school, I started doing talent shows. I always rapped. I just didn't take it serious. I just started moving to do with the homies. Um, Around that time, you know what I'm saying, my senior year, I was in a talent show and I didn't have my music. So my homeboy Dante Swan, salute to Dante, he came up to beatbox for me. And when I saw the reaction to the people in the crowd to me rapping, I was like, man, there must be something to this. You know what I'm saying? So I went to
Right.
college. I was a football player. I went to college. I met my partner Knox. I met who was the other people? I met quite a few people from my original crew, the Nobodies, and it was kind of at that point that I decided, yo, this is gonna be the move. This is what I want to do. So my very first jump off was I was on tour. We was on tour with KRS One for a year. That was our very first tour. So like
Mm.
I was like, yo, we started high on the list. We started
Right.
up high, and it's kind of just been a steady run since then, man. Like I don't think I've ever gone. I can't think of a time when I started releasing music that I've gone more than 8 to 9 months without releasing.
Hmm.
It's
And
been
that
it's been a smooth run, man.
putting that much time in between is a lot of time now because of the way things are
Oh yeah,
happening with the way how fast music works and how fast it comes out. You know that. You see it every
oh
day.
yeah,
You promote it. You listen to it too. You know, you see it all over social media. So the
oh
podcast,
yeah.
how did that come about? Shout out to E, man. Shout out to E the Mad Assassin right now. Shout out to my brother.
No doubt, yo. Yo, man. Matter of fact, I just got off the phone with him to come do this interview.
I've been trying to
Yeah,
nail it
man.
down. It's just the timing never works.
Oh yeah, because we got
Yeah.
yeah. It's weird because our work schedules are crazy. Like realistically, because we're both on the West Coast now, it works out a lot better for us. Like when he first moved out here and I was still in North Carolina, it was bad weird. But
Mm.
um, the podcast came along kind of as it really started with me wanting to talk to one person. You know what I'm saying? And I brought him on, and I was going to do a Panther Politics special report to interview this one guy. Panther Politics was the name of a song on my first Shooting Stars project. So I just kind of ran with that. Um, so after that, um, when I wanted to interview him, I didn't know what to call it. So I was like, I'm gonna just call it Panther Politics. Why not? So I did it, and I dropped it, and everybody was like, "Yo, that interview was really dope."
Hmm.
I was like, "Really?" So it took me about 2 weeks to drop another episode. Like I wasn't really thinking about the consistency that goes into podcasting. Like I never really thought about it. I
Hmm.
did the next interview. It went well. Then I was like, okay. So I started calling rappers that I knew, artists and producers that I knew, and was like, yo, let me interview you on the podcast. Everybody was just kind of like, okay, sure, why not? Um, so we had episode like technically just from released published episodes, we had like 109 right now. But realistically speaking, I'm probably 50. But there's a big group of interviews that happened within that mix, and I'm just like, that was just kind of a homeboy hookup. I don't ever want anybody to hear this, you know.
Right, right.
But it's starting to grow. You know, we found out about Rumble on the low. Matter of fact, Eda Mad put me on to that, and Rumble has actually worked out way better for us than YouTube was. So it's going really well over there. For Spotify for podcasters is our main hub for the audio, and it basically goes everywhere from that point. So wherever y'all listen to podcasts, y'all can hear Panther Politics on
Yes, sir.
everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, you can. Uh, Actually, I had another question I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Mount Rushmore. That's usually a thrown around
Mm,
term. Like, what's your Mount Rushmore? I'm not going to go in that direction. I don't even want to go in that direction. I want you to build your perfect MC out of 4 traits. All right. Pen game,
okay.
technicality,
Okay.
stage presence and persona, and
Okay.
look.
That's dope. Okay. That's that. You know, that is an awesome question.
We trying, man. We
Um. Okay. Pin game. Okay. I tell you what, because my memory's bad because I smoke a lot. You go down. You name the attribute again, and I'll tell you the person.
pen game.
Superstition.
All right. Technicality.
Jeez, that's a good one. Technicality. Technicality. Who would I go with? Skazoo.
Damn. Good answer. All right. Next one. Stage presence persona.
Bad seed.
There you go. Yep. Yep.
That one was easy. Yeah.
Good answer. Yeah, for real. And even an online persona, he brings that too. You know what I mean? He's just
Yes.
all, and he's larger than life. He's one of those dudes. Yeah, for real,
Seed
for
is
real.
dope, man. He's a
And
dope guy. Like not just a dope MC. He's just a dope.
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Like for real. Like I've had a lot of connection with him behind the scenes, and it's like always there, always
No doubt.
honest. And that's one good thing is like especially in this game, he's always honest. All right, number 4.
Yes.
Look, number 4, the look.
Now this one's a toss up because when it comes to look, for me, it's a couple of things that go into that. For me, it's a combination of because I mean, despite the fact that I don't make quote unquote gangster music, I do make street music.
Mm.
So regardless of what the look is, it's got to have a street edge to it. But I also think, you know what I'm saying, it's a degree of being fly that got to go into this. So if we talking about look, I'm gonna go with Eda Madison. Yeah. That don't mean I'm gonna start rocking polo, E. All right.
No, don't be stealing the style. Don't be stealing the style. I want to go back to something you just said. Actually, you don't make gangster music, but you do make street music. There is a huge
Yes.
difference. There is a
Very
huge
big difference.
difference to that. So I want you to break that difference down for our viewers. In your
Well,
opinion, what is that difference?
the biggest thing for me is realistically, I feel like street music is more of an individual thing. I think it's more of a this is what I've experienced, this is how I analyze what I've experienced, and this is how I respond to what I've experienced. But in my personal opinion, gangster music or gangster rap or whatever you want to call it is more of a inclusive culture. Like the gang is doing this.
Mm,
I feel like it's more political when it's gangster because it's more of a political statement when you have that mass of people moving in one singular direction as opposed to being a street dude. I can move all by myself and maneuver out here and never get in a situation where I gotta do nothing crazy. But that don't mean that I won't handle myself if I have to. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? So I feel like gangster rappers have to prove themselves more often than street rappers. Because a gangster rapper is more, I'm gonna do this to you. And a street rapper is more, I'm out here grinding, trying to get mine, but don't get it twisted. Then this will happen. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So
right.
um, I just think it's a difference in the intent more so than anything else. I don't have the intention of scaring anybody. Like I don't want to make nobody afraid to come where I live. I just tell you the truth about where I live, and I tell you the truth about
Mm.
how I see it and how I respond to what happens here on a daily basis. Yeah.
Gangster rap when it first hit was dope. Was so dope. It really was.
Oh yeah.
But it did send an absolutely wrong message to an entire group of kids coming up that just went off the rails with it. And then they had kids, and then they had kids, and that's what we're stuck with these days. And where it's getting a little even crazier, where people are doing shit on for TikTok views that walk right up to you and do some dumb shit. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Where I come from, a lot of the stuff that they do for entertainment on TikTok will get them knocked out.
Mm,
Period. Like you get rolled up on the wrong person doing that, you want to sleep. It's as simple as that. Like I don't. The thing for me is this: with the increased degree of sensitivity that we've witnessed in this particular era, how do you have an increased degree of sensitivity, but also an increased sense of audacity to do
right.
outlandish things? Like those two things don't even go together. So how do
Mm.
you get there? Like that's $1 million. How do we get there? That's crazy. So yeah, I don't know. That's TikTok
I
is the
think it's
devil,
just the
man.
total lack of it's the total lack of awareness, or and even situational awareness too. There's no such thing as situational awareness. No one pays attention to what's around them anymore. They don't see things coming at them. They don't pay attention when they're walking down the street. You know what I mean?
Reading the room.
We were raised to use the windows to see behind you. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
people don't even think of that nowadays. So
That one
it's wild, man. A kid that was doing prank shows a couple months back got shot on YouTube.
Yeah, I saw that.
You
Yeah, I
heard
saw
about
that.
that?
That's
Yeah.
crazy, yo.
Dude ran up on him. The kid that he ran up on wasn't mentally well. He told him to back up a couple times, so the kid wouldn't do it. He pulled his gun out and he shot him. I don't feel bad for the prankster. I really don't.
No,
He
because
fucked
if
around
you
and
ran up
found
on the
out.
wrong person and yes, and you fucked around and found out, you're right. Yeah, I mean, if a person is telling you back up off me, like first of all, even if you don't know that person's mental state, just the
Mm,
request of back up off me should have been enough to make you back up. You don't know this person.
right.
Respect their space. They not feeling what you want, back up off.
Mm,
And if you don't do that, then whatever comes with that, you have to be prepared to deal with what comes with it. Whether that be good, bad, or somewhere in the gray area between the two, you have to be prepared to deal with it. So I mean, I don't say nothing on the record. I don't say nothing on stage. I don't say nothing on the podcast, and I'm not prepared to stand on. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
I will never say nothing in a public forum that I'm not prepared to stand on. So if I say it, I said it, and there ain't no question about it. And I will never take it back if I said it, unless I'm dead wrong. If I'm wrong, and you can prove I'm wrong, then I'll take it back. But like other than that, the only reason why you have to move that way is because you put something in the air that you wasn't prepared to come back to you. You wasn't prepared for it to come back. So now you have to be cautious about how you're moving around. I've been flying around here with reckless abandon. You know why? Because I don't lie to people and I don't
right.
play dirty tricks on people. So I don't have no reason to not. I can just fly around here and do whatever I want. It's all good.
Right. These influencers, man, they don't get it. They think that it's not real. Like it's if they put it out there in the internet, it's not going to come back, and it does. It really does. And kids are getting hurt now, and they should think twice about trying to start their little prank channel to get their views, man. Because nobody's got time for that shit. You better not come up to me in the grocery store and pull my card away from me, or pull the card away from my wife. We'll be having a problem. You'll be getting smashed with something off the shelf. You know what I mean? People are wild, man. People are wild. But
You ain't lying, yo. You are not lying. That's real shit. Oh my god. You said I'm bash your head with something off the shelf. Word, bro.
for real, for real. But
Oh, that's
I want to move
crazy.
on to on to our segment. What's your issue? You know, what's your issue? It could be something that's just your pet peeve, or it could be an issue you want to really talk about and stand on. So, Seven and Panther,
Hmm.
what's your issue, bro?
You know what? I think my issue is people's failure to realize seasonal individuals and things. And when I say seasonal, I don't mean wearing the right outfit for winter or fall or summer. I mean seasonal as in some people that come into your life are not meant to stay there.
Mm.
Some people are there to teach you a lesson and move on. People run into situations where they're not allowed to, where they don't grow, where they don't become what they're supposed to because they try to make seasonal things permanent. And I really wish that that was something that people could see better because you would save yourself a lot of heartache and stress if you just recognize that okay, I met this person. It could be somebody I known for 30 years, bro.
Mm.
If at that 30-year mark something occurs that shows me that that has run its course, that's just what it is. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, mind you, that might not have been the first thing that came to my mind if I hadn't previously been having that same conversation with somebody. But the more I thought about it earlier today when we were talking about that, that really burns me
Mm.
because I recognize that when I didn't know that part, um, that was a big part of my stress, trying to hold on to people that I should have just let go.
Mm.
And so I mean, to me, that's a big thing. Like even what is I guess I, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this and not be like disrespectful with how I say it. Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. There are artists that we love and that we hold to a high esteem that came out in the 80s, early 90s, whatever the case. Some of them are still really dope right now. Some of them, not so much.
Mm.
And as much as I appreciate their allegiance and their dedication to the culture, it comes to a point where you kind of got to realize nobody's connecting with this. It's not connecting with anybody. Why am I? I could just go perform the classics. Like I really don't got to do this. I
Right.
can make this and keep it to myself. Like I don't have to put it out for everybody to hear. Because deep down, if you were dope back then, you know this isn't good.
Mm.
But you just want to be in the race. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's crazy.
Sometimes I feel like what you were saying about seasonal is some people are afraid of loss, and those people probably haven't had much loss in their life, so they don't know how to handle that kind of loss. You know what I mean? Like I think once you lose your mama, that's it. You can almost lose anything in your life and
Thanks.
be okay with it. You know what I mean? Because nothing will ever sting as much as when your mom dies. So, but a lot of people are afraid, totally afraid of loss, especially since COVID, you know, because when you start to lose your sense of actually being a person out there in the world, and if they try to lock you down like that, and then they try to talk more lockdowns and all this other nonsense, just try to get everybody riled up. So it is they want to hold on to everything at this point. So we're lucky we're
That's
not
real.
hoarding. We're all lucky we're not hoarding toilet paper. Like we all have this obsession with buying vast amounts of toilet paper at this moment. It's crazy, but
That's real shit.
for real, man.
Pun totally intended. But yeah, I feel you, bro. Like, and I think one of the things I noticed too is I think the generational. Okay, so as much as I feel like the generational gap is starting to close because some of the older artists are finally starting to wake up and realize maybe I should reach out to some of these young guys,
Hmm.
and not to keep myself hot, but to we can work together. And whereas they have the heat factor for the moment, I have the knowledge and the history
Hmm.
and the building blocks to give them that nobody gave them. So now you're already hot, but now I can make it to where you can make that a long term thing and not just I'm hot today and next week nobody wants to hear what I have to say. I've seen it happen a million times. Like we see it all the time when you have somebody who's hot to death. 3 months later, you don't even hear
Yep.
their name no more.
Right. Like,
Look
who was
look
that?
at
You know,
designer.
and it's hard to even remember people too. It's because there's so much coming out that it's like, yeah, you'll bring somebody up and you'll be like, oh, remember that? That was 3 months ago, but that wasn't 3 years ago. You know,
You
and that's
feel me?
the way our brains are starting to work now because everything seems to move so fast. You know what I mean?
You
For
ain't
real.
lying, yo. I couldn't even believe, like, on a real, I looked up at the calendar the other day and was like, because I remember you sent me the flyer for this interview like almost 2 months ago.
Hmm.
And she was like, "Yo, we ready? Here you go." Boom. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
word, that's what's up." And I have it saved in my gallery. And I happened to be looking for a picture to post something, and I was like, "Boop," and I clicked on. I was like, "Wait a minute, this is October 5th. Oh, I still got time." And I looked at the calendar. I was like, "Yo, it's October 1st. What the?"
Right. Yeah. Dude, I'm at work the other day. That's what I said. I was like, oh shit, tomorrow's October already, dude. Yeah, this year went by. This year went by fast, man. For real. But
Very.
we had a lot of good hip hop this year. For real.
Oh yes,
A lot of
yes,
good
yes,
hip
yes.
hop. A lot.
I,
So
I
what was your favorite thing to come out so far?
wow, that's a good question. That's a good. I got two tied for number one. Well, actually, I got three tied for. I got three at the top of my list. One is the Art of Disrespect by Speaker Bullies. Um, Sky Zoo's most recent joint. Damn, the name is escaping me right now. But Sky Zoo's on that list, and probably if I'm talking total body of work, double XL, overweight, none of it. It's pretty dope. Like as far as a total body of work.
Those are some dope choices for real. Well, I know you're at work, my man. So I don't want to keep you too long. I wanted to get this
Oh,
one in
bro,
and out.
we can do whatever you feeling, man. I ain't tripping. They ain't tripping. They know what I do, so they like,
Oh shit, you get a free pass? That's cool.
yeah,
I
they
wish I
cool.
got a free pass at work. I'd be doing that shit right in the kitchen while I'm cooking.
Oh,
Create
that'd be
two
lit.
videos, man. Create two videos. Have one podcast going, have one
Ooh.
cooking video going. Shit, see?
See,
Don't forget.
now you thinking. Now you thinking. That's what
Now,
I'm talking.
all right,
Oh
so
man.
you're still going. We're still going. Fuck it, we're still going. So the new podcast coming up. Tell us about it. What's gonna happen?
Oh man. Okay, so I always wanted to do a sports podcast because I love sports. Like I said, I went to college. I had a football scholarship to go to college. I also played AAU basketball, state track champion, like a lot of stuff. So I love sports. But the problem is, you don't watch sports anymore, and Mojo Barnes doesn't watch sports. So the two guys that I normally podcast with, neither one of them watch.
Hmm.
And it was crazy. So my homeboy Terry Monstrosity, who I just interviewed on Sidebars, um, I was like, "Yo, hey man, you like sports?" Because he was actually wearing a jersey, and I was like, "Do you like sports, or you just like bought the jersey?" He was like, "No, no, 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 no." He said, "Yo, let me show you." He showed me pictures from pardon me, Mariners games and Seahawks games, and I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh, so you a sports fan?" He's like, "Oh, I love sports." I said, "Bro, listen, what you think about me and you talking sports for an hour a week? Like, what you think?" He's like, "Let's do it." So, pardon me, I'm still trying to find a suitable title for it, but the main purpose behind it would be more or less to talk about sports, of course, but we're gonna put a hip hop twist on it. And not only that, but there are some local athletes and even some from across the country that I know personally that we'll be bringing on to talk to, like very briefly, just about what they do, what they got coming up,
Hmm.
pardon me, and all of that good stuff. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Like me personally, I'm starting to feel like at first I wasn't sure if I was gonna like podcast. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I mean, I just want to do it because I feel like interviewing artists that I like. But the more I've done it, the more I realize that there's a freedom in podcasting that I don't have. You know what I'm saying? There are certain things as a rapper that I just won't do because it's not on brand for me. And then not only that, I think as an artist, it's corny for me to do
Hmm.
with my track record. So, but I can always talk about those things on the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Even if I can't rap about it, I can talk about it. And when you start thinking about commercial artists, and things of that nature. Like I don't talk about them in my music. I don't talk about nothing they do in my music, but the things that they do have an effect on the culture as a whole. So we get an opportunity to talk about it on the pod and tell how those things that happen at that level affect what happens at the subterranean level where we exist. And it's beautiful, really, to have that freedom. It's beautiful.
It is. It is. And it's good to be creative and to be able to create more than just one thing in my eyes. Like we're
Yes,
going. We got a couple more podcasts and series that we're working on behind the scenes that we're trying to get going before the end of the year, and we'll be at like 6. It's like when do I slow down? I don't know, but I want to give somebody a little something for everybody. You know what I mean?
yes,
That's the
absolutely.
key. That's the key. We want to bring
Mm.
everybody in, and maybe they'll cross over and see something else, and they'll pick up this podcast, and they'll see Seven the Panther, and they'll say, "Oh, who's that?" They'll go over to your podcast, and then they'll start. You know what I mean? That's the key of the culture corner. That's what we
Yeah,
want to
I ain't
do.
mad at that.
we want to be that, almost like the middleman, just you come through us, you're going to have a link to everybody that's around. So, but shout out to you for doing bigger things, man, moving on and creating more. Because, like I said, man, that's all we can do is just keep trying to make it a little bit better than the way
Oh
we
yeah,
left it yesterday. You know what I mean? For real. But,
man. I think about it all the time. Like my son's 23. He's a rapper too. Um, he's incarcerated presently, but he'll be home soon. So we have plans to make music together. I hit him and his homies that he kind of came up with. Um, they got their own little crew, so I'm kind of taking them under my wing to kind of school them to the game. And mind you, what they do is different from what we do. They're young, like they have some, but because of the way they came up, they have some serious boom bap principles. They don't run away from boom bap, like they'll hop on some boom bap.
hmm.
So it's dope to hear them do it. And I'm like, for me, the biggest thing for me is if I do what I'm supposed to do, like in a couple of years, if I be like, all right, as far as the perpetual run to the studio, you know what I'm saying, record, 12 records, package that shit, put a cover on it, upload it, and put it out, go on the road. Like that, in a couple of years, I'm probably gonna be done with that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more of a, okay, I'm gonna take my time, and like if I feel like dropping a single this year, I'll drop it. Or if I maybe feel like dropping an EP in a year, I'll do that. Right now, I don't feel like I want to be able to turn my focus to other things. I'm an actor and I'm a podcaster, so like I want to be able to focus on those things a little. I've given music. I started rapping in 1986, so like
Hmm.
I've given rapping a lot of my life. You know what I mean? So like acting, I keep running away from it to go back to music and act for a little bit, get on a good little run before I know what opportunity comes in music, and I run away and I'm like, I go. You know what I'm saying? It's like acting is my side chick, but when wifey call and say dinner time is, it's time to go. So like, um, I just hope, like, my hope is that we can be that we and not only myself, but myself and everybody else that's in my class, Bad C, Edom Assassin, John Jiggs, like all of us, Substance, all of us, um, can be that arm for the next generation to tell them, hey, you don't got to abandon what you're doing, but let us give you the source that we got, that we picked up from the OGs, so that when y'all become the elder statesmen, y'all can continue to evolve this thing and not stagnate it. Because it was a period where I felt like hip hop wasn't growing because it was just like the same thing over and over and over. It was like a five, maybe like a 4 to 5 year window. I was like, what is going on? I don't understand what's happening. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it was like the dam broke. And all the people that was quiet or that was running on the same treadmill, they finally jumped off it
Hmm.
and was like, I don't got to do that. I could do this. And at that point, I feel like is when the game started turning back to what it's supposed to be. Like everybody complain about what they hear on the radio, but I'm like, if you looking for real hip hop on the radio, you looking in the wrong place anyway. Like
Oh,
real
yeah.
hip hop ain't been on the radio in 15, 20 years. So what are you doing? So I don't know, man. This is crazy. It's crazy. I may be saying too much
Hip hop hasn't been on the radio since the radio was the radio, because the radio is not really the radio anymore. They play, we have to listen to regular old FM radio at work, and they play the same 7 songs. I got to hear Sexy Red 18 times a day. I got to hear What's That Other Girl, Ice Spice, 100 times a
right. Oh
day.
God.
It's terrible, man. It's like a constant loop of the same 9 to 10 songs maybe that they just keep on going with for months at a time until it's played out. I guess it's played out, but it's played out after the first day. But what do you think about all these crazy girls coming up, all the Ice Spices, and the, it's getting to be an
Okay.
epidemic?
I'm gonna say this because I don't ever want anybody to think that I look down on these people because I don't.
Hmm.
Like I understand where you come from because I come from the same thing. I understand why you're doing what you're doing because it's partly the same reason why I do what I do. You feel like you need to get it off your chest and it can possibly put some money in your pocket and get you out of poverty.
Right.
Cool. The problem for me is this. And people will always point back and say, well, what about Kim and Foxy? I said, but when we had Kim and Foxy, we also had On the Hill of Bahamadia and Jean Grey. We had all of them all at the same
Right.
time. And Foxy and Kim was only the ones most known to the people who weren't hip hop. They were just rap music listeners. If you was a hip hop fan, you knew about all the people. Queen Latifah was still going strong at that point. You know what I'm saying? MC Light was still dropping shit. So like the difference for me is this. We still, yeah, we got Rhapsody, we got Saw Rock, we got, there's some female MCs that we have right now. Let me not say MCs who happen to be women that we have right now. Book Brown, that are incredible. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? But when they start talking about women running the game and the resurgence of women in hip hop, how women are leading culture right now, they only refer to those who are making um what my friends like to call whore hop.
Yep.
Sexy Red, Ice Spice, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. And when I look at it, all I think to myself is this. It says a lot that I much rather watch your video on mute than hear what you have to say. That says a lot.
Mm.
So if I'd rather watch your video on mute than hear what you have to say, maybe rethink what you're saying. Ice Spice, cute little girl. She's cool. I think her little orange, I think it's so cute. I'm like, oh, you go, girl. Oh, but I don't ever want to hear anything that comes out of her mouth, ever.
Right.
Lotto, I watched her come up. I used to see her on the Jermaine Dupri TV show. But now what I hear now is like, you took that little kid that I thought was gonna be somebody, and like you are somebody. Don't get me wrong, I was right about that part. But you completely, when you became an adult, you allowed your adulthood to steer you in a direction that was completely unnecessary. Sexy Red, I'm not sure who did Sexy Red. There's certain ones that I'm just kind of wonder who told these people, hey, let's go do this. Because when I listen to them do what they do, I am not
It's
impressed by any of it.
it's terrible. It's horrible. And it's industry, man. They're like, all right, it's something to market and sell. And that's the sad thing is they could just sell it. They're really exploiting them to the point where they're going to juice them for every dollar they can get. And then they're going to fade away because then the next Ice Spice is going to come in like 2 years and drop something. And she'll be a little different from this Ice Spice, but she'll have different color hair and she might have a
Oh yeah,
piercing in a different spot, you know what I mean? And then that will become the thing. And you know how this game works, man. You've been around.
yeah. They're gonna be like, yeah, she different from Ice Spice. She only twerk on the hook.
Right. Right. It'd be
What?
some wild shit. Yeah. There'd be some wild shit to happen. And then it's the cycle, man. It sucks that the industry is like that. The actual mainstream industry. I don't think it'll ever be the way it was from
Oh,
93 to 97. It never, ever, ever be
we'll
that
never
way
see that
again.
again. We'll never.
Never.
And you know what? I saw what they was talking about. Special Ed and his comments about NWA,
Mm,
and I saw a lot of people upset about what he said, and I was like, well, he has a point. And I say he has a point because despite the fact that we had quote unquote gangster-ish rappers from the East and West Coast prior
mm.
to them, that was the explosion. That was the shot that was heard around the world.
Right.
NWA was the shot heard around the world as far as gangster rap goes. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that I would push back against Ed and say is, you say that about NWA and they're responsible for the FBI watching hip hop, but what about Public Enemy?
Mm.
They're equally as responsible for the FBI watching hip hop for a whole
More,
different
more
reason.
so, probably more so.
More so, yeah, and for a whole different reason.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't know. So I get what he's saying, but I don't hold nothing against gangster rap. I never hold nothing against nobody telling their story. It's only when I hear you telling a story that just don't sound real. And a lot of these the women that we were just recently mentioning, all of this extracurricular sex talk and all that, I don't believe y'all live like that. I don't really believe that's how you live your life, and that's the reason why I can't listen to your music. If I
Well,
really
they're not
believed that
right.
was
They're
you,
not writing that shit anyway. They got 12
it,
people writing that. You know, they're definitely not writing their own shit. Maybe they get to throw a line in on the hook, and that's about it. And they
yeah.
get their little writing credit, and then they tell them to move on, shut up, get in the booth, and spit it, and move forward.
Now get in and now get in front of this camera and shake your ass. Okay, there you go. All right,
Exactly.
now video coming out tomorrow.
Right. And
This is
then
crazy,
make
bro.
15 TikToks and get them out there, and we'll be all right. And then shut up. Shut up and take your payment and move on to the next one because that's what they do.
Yeah, and
It's sad.
we was talking the other day, me and my homie, and he was talking about I mean he loves mainstream culture. I'm like, yo, bro, have at it, man. Like I know enough of it to have a conversation with you, and it's only because I'm a podcaster. I feel like I need to know certain things because I know
Mm.
they may come up in conversation. So, you know, I can talk to you about some of it. And he was like, what about Cardi and Nicki? I said, no, I can't talk to you about that because despite what many people may think and what seems like it makes sense, I like Nicki Minaj for a very specific reason because she writes her own raps. That's why I
Mm.
like Nicki Minaj. Like, and that's the one thing that no matter what I may feel about whatever else she do, the fake boobs and all the other, but no matter how I feel about that, I can never take from you that you write your own rhymes and you're actually pretty good at it when you're not bullshit.
Well,
So
they're in a different category, those two.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like, oh, they
Nicki's
wrong.
an MC and Cardi's a rapper. That's how it goes, you know.
Yes.
Right.
He was like, who you think gonna win the battle? I said, it depends on who writes for Cardi. That kind
Mm,
of depends. It depends on who writes it for Cardi. If she get the right person to write it, she probably can beat Nicki. But if and I saw a meme earlier today. It was a girl sitting in a chair that looked like Nicki Minaj, and there was another girl in front of her with a pen in her hand, was like crying, and they was like Nicki Minaj to Cardi B, sit down and write a song, and and they got Cardi just crying with the pen in her hand because she can't do it, and I'm
mm.
like, yo, the fucked up part about this is actually true. That's the bad part about it. This is the truth. So like when it comes down to it, to me, that's not a battle. There's no battle there. They
Mm.
can have a conflict with each other, but when you start talking about hip hop and start talking about battle, that's not a battle. Like if you don't even write your own verses, anything that you say in this conflict is null. So that's just my 2 cents. I know some people don't feel the same way I feel about ghostwriting, but nah,
I'm with
nah.
you on I'm with you on ghostwriting. I really am because like if I was an MC, there's no way that I'd be trying to be like, all right, write my rhymes for me. I'll spit them for you. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. Just as pride, you know. It's like as an artist, why would you want to do something like that? At that point, you're not even an artist. You're just an entertainer.
You're a puppet.
Mm, exactly.
If somebody's like they pinned up your booty and gave you what to say, there you go. And now you off to the races. And I don't get me wrong. If they call these people what they are, I won't be upset about it. Call
Mm,
Cardi an entertainer. Call Drake an entertainer. Call what I'm saying? Call these people entertainers. Call them what they are. That's cool. But when you put them in the same category, when you start saying these guys are the top three of their generation, and you saying Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, and I'm like, well, wait, because two of these people did it a whole different way than one of them.
mm,
It's like, what, like not that I have, don't get me wrong, when he first came out, I'm not a big fan of most commercial music, but I heard Drake on something. It might have been rapping on somebody else's beat, and I was like, yo, who was that? And like some of the punchlines were really sharp, and I was like, yo, this who the fuck he dope? Who was that? But then the more I started hearing him, I started realizing what was happening, and I was like, oh, it's another one of them. Okay, let's see where this goes. And sure enough, as soon as I heard "Better Find Your Love" and um, "Just Hold On, I'm Coming Home," like all them songs, he was like just straight up singing. I was like, oh, here we go, here we go. And then the
Drake's one
Quentin
of
Miller
those.
thing happened.
Drake's one of those vultures that used hip hop to get his foot in the door, and then I put Post Malone up with him. Post Malone's another one of those dudes used hip hop to get his foot in the door, and then blew up. And now, what does he even do? I don't even know what to call what he makes, and I'm
It's
not a
pop
fan of
music.
it. Yeah, it's terrible pop music. It sounds exactly the same. It's like lullabies with nursery rhymes and just over and over and over. It seriously, it'll put me right to sleep. But yeah, he's one of those dudes. Drake's one of those dudes. They use hip hop, they get in the door, and then they decide to go branch off, and they're like, no, but this is no, that's who you were. It's not you expanding as an artist. Because
Exactly.
if you're expanding as an artist, it'd still be hip hop, but you'd be doing it in a different way. You're not doing hip hop. You're doing some other form of music. So that's my opinion on it,
Yeah.
for real.
And okay, I feel like this. Boom. You can do those other things you want to do,
Mm,
but the easiest way to do those things and to not be outcast because of it is that you got to be real with people from the beginning. Like Outcast Evolution, when we watched it. Now, mind you, the difference too is the social media shit. We see way too much and know way too much about these people way too
mm.
fast. Um, I didn't know that me and Big Boy were 2 days apart in age until they were on like their third album. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know how old he was. I didn't know nothing. I knew they were from Atlanta, and I knew that
Right.
whatever they told us on records is what I knew. Um, but as social media has gotten larger, what it's done is it's taken away the veil that used to exist between the artist and the fan and the consumer. And I love the veil because I don't need to know that much about you.
Mm.
I want to hear your music and appreciate your music because a lot of times when I found out more about you than the music, it makes me start to not like you. And because I don't like you as a person now, I'm starting to not like your music. And before you know it, somebody that I thought was one of my favorite artists, I'm not even listening to him because social media has shown me that this person's a jerk. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, you're a dick. I don't want to hear that music anymore. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how dope it may be, like it's something about your personality that rubs me the wrong way. And now I can't enjoy your music because regardless of how dope I think that line is, I see you making the stink face in the studio while you say it. So
Mm.
I'm done. Pay me no mind. But I'm just saying, like that's how I be looking at it. So I mean, and that's why I stay. If a person scroll down my social media page, they can scroll all the way to the bottom and they still couldn't tell you a whole lot about me.
Mm.
There's a reason for it. It's supposed to be entertainment. I'm an entertainer, and this is entertainment. So there's only so far I'm willing to go in regards to what actually happened in my life. I posted something about my kid, you know what I'm saying? But I've been posting about him ever since he's been locked up. Like I've been locked up. I know what it's like. So I want motherfuckers to remember him.
Mm.
Remember him. Remember what his situation is. So when he come home, you can see that he survived it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing about trying to get sympathy or none of that shit. Ain't no sympathy. Sympathy don't help nobody in jail. I've been
Right.
there. Trust me, it don't help. So like, it's cute to hear it, but it don't help none. But like, there's small things about myself that I don't mind sharing. But like, when it comes to the grand scheme of things, bro, keep that shit to yourself, man. Because realistically speaking, these people don't care, and all they waiting for is for you to fumble and make a whack record, and then everything you said about your personal life coming out, and they gonna say all of these things are the reason why this music is whack.
Yeah, holding on to it. That's all ammo. That's all it is ammo. I said it yesterday. I write it a lot on social media. Social media is not your public diary.
No,
Don't pump your heart onto Facebook, and don't pump all your woes and all, because all you're doing is you got people out there that really do want bad things for you. You really do have people that don't want to see you succeed. It's just the way people are. And you might not even know it. They might not even know it at that point. But they're watching you, and they're watching all those things you're putting out there. You're putting out, and ladies putting out about their mans, and then mans about their ladies. Don't do it. Stop it. Stop it. You're giving everybody too much ammunition, and you don't realize the digital world is watching, man. And
please
you're
believe
just
it.
it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. You're not going to find much on my social media, but promoting and doing what we do. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
there it is. There it
I'll give you
is.
my little public service announcements. Try to help the people out. Give them try to like. Don't do this. Come on now. Be smarter. Think about things. That's all I'm trying to tell people is like
That's all.
think before you type and before you push send and post.
Because the thing is, and this is the thing that be getting people in trouble. You post it, you give it a minute or two, you realize it's stupid, and you decide to delete it. But somebody already saw it. They
Oh,
screenshotted it.
we
They
got it.
shared it
Yeah,
out.
we
Yeah, you
got it.
got now. You know
Everybody
what I'm
got
saying?
it. They sent it
Yeah.
mass. 99 people got tagged in that shit. You know how they
You
do.
feel me? So I
For real.
mean, dog, like, and the craziest part of all is, I had a conversation with a guy the other day and was asking him, "Hey man, let me ask you a question. What's the like the wildest shit?" He was like, "Bro, you know what I'm saying? This nigga, I had to run up on him because he was saying he was in my girl DMs on Facebook and blah 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 blah." And I went to his girl's Facebook page just to do a quick social experiment, and I started scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And I said, there's a lot of half naked pictures of her on this page without you in them.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of provocative memes being shared. You don't comment on none of this shit. Like you don't say nothing. You haven't made your presence known.
Hmm.
So, and it's not in her immediate about information that you can see on the front of the page. Like if you click on it, it says she's in a relationship. But if you don't click on it, you don't see that nowhere. So
Right.
it's like, how many people you think going to do the homework to dig to see if she got a man if it ain't evident from what she see or from what they see? And he was like, well, yeah, I feel you, man. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm a dude. I said, well, bro, you 40 something years old. You know,
Hmm.
most of these dudes sliding in her DM, they probably 20, 25, between 25 and 35. They don't know shit. So I mean, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, like when it's all said and done, you have to understand that what you present on social media is going to come back to you.
It
And when it
will.
comes back to you, you cannot be angry. You can't be
Hmm.
mad. You can't get sad. You can't get in your feelings about it. You got to say, I planted this seed and now it's growing. And I just got to take this fruit for what it is. And if you can't do that, be mindful of the seeds you plant. Stay
Yep.
out the fucking garden if you can't deal with what comes from the seeds you plant. Just stay out the garden all year. That's your best. That's your best bet.
And
Just tell you. That's
one of my homies told me today, it's not like back in the day when we were kids where we'd have some ripped up clothes and a couple of bruises and it was over. It just keeps going. People just keep going on social media. So got to watch out.
Yes, please do,
But
please do. And yo, man, on the real, instead of going on social media and typing some crazy emotional diatribe that's gonna make the whole world look at you crazy, I'm gonna give you an alternative for what you do. Instead of doing that, since your fingers want to be so busy, go SE, we're gonna go linkree.com/SEVENDAPANTHA. Go get some real hip hop in your life. Go listen to some Seven the Panther, man. I promise you to do you better than that long emotional diatribe you about to post on Facebook. Promise. On everything I love. You'll feel better.
he drops his link for y'all. All right, my man. We're coming to the end of the Hip Hop Happy Hour podcast. It's been a pleasure. About time we got together again. We're gonna be
No
doing it again
doubt,
in the
man.
future. So
I gotta get you and Shaw back over on Panther Politics now that I got EMOjo over there, man.
yeah,
That'll be a
yeah,
good
yeah. Well,
conversation.
let us know. We'll be on. But time to drop your links, man. Time to shamelessly self promote. Tell us where we can find you.
No doubt. So if you are on any of the streaming services, you can find me under Seven the Panther. That's seven as in the word seven. SEVEN. I'm from the project, so it's DA. Panther. PANTHA. You can find me there on Instagram. You can find me at Seven the Panther 253. You can also find Panther Politics Podcast at Panther Pod 253. Make sure you follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you rate, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Check us out on Rumble and just binge all the episodes you can watch. We drop every Monday at 9 a.m. Audio and video. So you know what
I'm,
it is,
I'm
man. What was it?
uh,
Oh, you already know, man. I'm part of Takeover Music Collective right now. Surface Tension from Mojo Barnes and Ready Ron Beats is out. Old Head from Soul the Interrogator is out. Old Waiting Underpaid from Double XL is out. Coming on October 31st is Monster Listed Book of the Monster. November, we got Angie Stacks, Hidden Gems, Ready Ron's cassette tape singles. And in December, it's my time. Mamba mentality. It's coming. It's coming.
so you heard it, man. Y'all got to check this dude out. Check his team out. They dropping a lot of shit. Go cop all of it. I'm sure it's everywhere. Bandcamp, everywhere. Go cop it. Go cop it. Support the
No
independent
doubt.
artists. And yeah, you put me on the Rumble. I'm gonna have to check that shit out now. See how that works out.
Hey, bro, it's a whole lot easier to monetize over there than on YouTube. So, yeah.
YouTube is so hard, man. You know. But all right,
That's why, man. I think your episode was the last episode of Panther Politics podcast I posted.
dude. YouTube starting to no offense, YouTube overlords that are listening, but y'all gotta pay up. Y'all gotta pay up and make it easier. Anyway,
You feel me?
we at the end of the Hip Hop Happy Hour again. Seven the Panther Politics podcast. You can find him everywhere. Shout
No
out to you,
doubt.
man. Shout out to your team. Shout out to E. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to
Thank
Mojo.
you, man.
Yeah, we
Shout
out.
out to the Culture Corner. Hey, thank
Peace.
y'all, man. Peace.